Hi, I'm Becca.
And I'm Ceci. Welcome to What If You Knew, the Red Flag series,
where we teach you how to avoid getting stuck in toxic relationships and what you need to know to be the kind of person who attracts the kind of person you want to be with.
Last time we explained the stages of depression that many people experience from toxic relationships. Today, we're going to talk about how to keep stress and anxiety out of your relationships or eliminate it if it's there. You know when you just know something, you know it deep inside. You can't explain how or why you know it, you just do.
That's your inner voice, and it's something you should never ignore. Pay attention to it and follow it.
This inner knowing, this sensing, has a lot of names. Some people call it conscience, others call it intuition or their sixth sense, a gut feeling. Whatever you call it, we all have it and we all need it.
So how does your inner voice help you? Specifically, how does it help you in relationships?
It'll help you know what to say and when to say it, or when to say nothing at all.
It can warn you of danger and keep you out of harm's way. Like when you get that feeling that maybe you should cancel that date.
It helps you know when something is off, when something doesn't quite feel right, or you get a feeling that something's not what it appears to be. Your inner voice will also warn you when someone is trying to manipulate you. You'll find dozens of examples back in red flags too.
When your heart's breaking, when you feel alone or you feel unworthy of love, your inner voice will give you the strength to move forward and a feeling of hope for better future relationships.
When others say things about you and their underlining messages, you aren't important or you don't matter, your inner voice reminds you of the truth. And the truth is, you have great worth and that will never change. Your inner voice will also check you when you have a false belief about someone else.
You may have grown up not feeling valued or respected in your relationships. The negative messages you may have received about your worth, body, your thoughts, and feelings are the opposite of the truth. Your inner voice knows that you are of great worth and that your body, your thoughts, and your feelings are valid and they belong to you and no one else. Your inner voice will remind you of that.
Just a note here, if you've ever had to ignore your inner voice to protect yourself from hurtful messages from others or abuse, you were protecting yourself. You were surviving.
You can ignore your inner voice, but it can never be extinguished. Start listening for it now and you will hear it. The more you listen for it, the easier it will be.
One of the most important things your inner voice does is help you recognize when any other voice is contradicting it. And when you ignore your inner voice and listen to that other voice, you will feel stress because going against your inner voice causes stress. If you aren't used to hearing your inner voice, here's what you do.
First, hit pause. If you're going about your day and you notice you're talking in circles in your head, that's stress. Or you've just had an interaction with someone that didn't go well and you're feeling the stress from that, you need to pause.
Then ask yourself, what emotion am I feeling right now? Name it. Is it accused, embarrassed, overwhelmed, rejected? Try to be as accurate as possible.
Your emotions are necessary. They're signals that help you understand what's happening to you right now and what's happened to you in the past.
This is my favorite emotion wheel. I put the link in the video notes. A chart like this will help you pin down your specific emotion.
Once you know what the emotion is, you need to determine where it's coming from. Is it coming from inside you or outside you? If it's outside of you, it might be an emotion you're picking up from someone else or a reaction to something that's happening around you.
If it's coming from inside you, it could be an emotion from your past that keeps popping up, or it could be your inner voice setting off an alarm. If you look for the source, you'll find it. And once you know what it is and where it's coming from, acknowledge it. Emotions are not wrong. They are real and they are important. Remember, they're signals to give you information you need.
This is the time to pay attention to the thoughts that are swirling around in your head. If those thoughts don't match what your inner voice tells you, that's dissonance. So turn them off. Turn off the noise because you need to hear what your inner voice is telling you. That will be the truth. With practice, your inner voice gets easier to hear and you'll be able to recognize it more quickly.
When you stop listening to the noisy thoughts in your head and respond instead to what your inner voice is telling you, you'll feel peace and you'll know what to do in whatever situation you're in. Peace is the opposite of stress. The more deeply you trust your inner voice, the more peace you're going to feel.
Remember, all of those thoughts swirling around in your head are just outside voices or recordings of past events in your memory. They are not your inner, calming, true voice. When you recognize this, you can take charge of your physical reactions and confidently move forward.
Let's talk a little more about stress. We all have it, and there are 3 kinds.
If what you're feeling is physiological stress, like a clinically diagnosed mental or physical illness, you may need to seek medical attention. If it's situational stress from an external source, like being in debt or having a roommate who never does the dishes, you can make a plan to improve that situation.
What Becca and I are focusing on is emotional stress. To completely extinguish emotional stress so it doesn't keep coming back, you have to remove whatever it is that's fueling it.
When firefighters put out big fires, they don't aim at the flames. They know that won't stop the fire. They aim at the fuel.
On the surface, it usually seems like the source of our emotional stress is someone else. But the truth is, it almost always goes deeper than that. It may seem surprising, but the fuel more often than not is inside us. And to completely extinguish it, we have to find it. So how do we do that? How do we find it and remove it so the fire doesn't keep burning?
That's a really good question. You can put a lot of energy into managing your stress, but what if you could eliminate it?
There is a way, and you can learn how to do it. Even better, if both people in a relationship use it to eliminate their own stress, they'll have a happy, healthy, and lasting relationship.
Anytime you're feeling strong emotions like stress or anxiety, especially in a relationship, you need to get it out of your head. You need to process it. And the best time to do that is when you feel the emotion coming on or right after an emotional outburst. There are different ways to get it out. You can write it in a journal or tell someone you trust about it. You can even record it on an app. However you do it, you need to hear yourself tell your story.
Think about a time when you did this, when you were able to talk about a problem you were having with someone you trusted, and all they did was listen. They didn't interrupt you, but they validated your feelings when you needed it. How did you feel when you finally finished your story? Did you breathe a sigh of relief? Laugh at what you discovered? Cry as you realized something you weren't aware of before?
If it was a belief about yourself, it's called a core belief. Core beliefs fuel emotional fires. Some are true, but most are false. Most of the time, we aren't consciously aware we even have a false core belief. The way to find it is to tell your story. When you're telling your story, it will come out and you will hear it. It might sound like one of these. I don't fit in anywhere. No one will ever love me. I don't deserve respect. I'm such a disappointment. Or I'll never be good enough.
Next, ask yourself, is the fuel really what I think it is? List all the evidence you can think of that makes you believe it's true. Making this list will be easy because most core beliefs are formed when we're young, during our childhood. So we've had a lot of time to collect a lot of evidence that they're true.
Your mind is fascinating. It shows you everything that proves your belief is true while blocking anything you see or hear that proves it isn't. Here's the awesome thing though. Your mind records everything.
So when you open your mind to the possibility that your core belief might not be true, it triggers your brain to release any hidden memories that would prove it isn't. This evidence might be harder to find and it might be slow at first, but when that block is gone, you'll be able to see all the evidence, past and present, that you hadn't noticed before.
Here's what proving and disproving a belief might look like.
Becca will narrate the proof that the belief is true, and I'll narrate the proof that shows it isn't.
Okay. When I dated Alex, they told me no one would ever love me as much as they did.
But the truth is, Alex lied to me about a lot of things, so maybe that was a lie too.
Alex broke up with me, so I must be unlovable.
But the truth is, I just met a person and things are going really well.
The only love I've ever been able to find is toxic. I must not deserve real love.
Maybe experiencing a lot of toxic love just means that I've run into a lot of unhealthy people. So we have a choice. How long we choose to carry emotional stress is up to us, but it can be eliminated. Carrying it ruins relationships. One of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves and our partner is to take a good hard look at any of our core beliefs that fuel our emotional fires and let the truth extinguish them.
Removing stress is all about finding the fuel, the false belief, and replacing it with the truth. When you're stressed and you follow this process, your stress will be eliminated and you will feel peace.
You can find what you're looking for in a relationship, and you can be the kind of person who attracts the kind of person you want to be with. Thank you for spending this time with us.
See you next time.